عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Masjid Carpark podcast, episode 25. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. I twisted my tongue there. How are you, Malana?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. What
There
a
was
week,
a
eh?
delayed there was a
Tonight,
delayed
so this is
reaction.
Thursday. Well, this is online. Thursday night. Today, no, the lockdown is not finishing. What's actually happening is that our restrictions getting reduced. We're still banned from traveling to the rest of Australia, and yeah. So
Well, what we can do is, I think, you can have two adults visit your household, plus their
okay.
dependents, and infants aren't included in that. When they say plus their dependents,
Your
I don't know
mic,
what
your mic sounds a bit muffled. If you can just put your mic properly, the actual mic.
the actual might has. Is it? Does that make it better?
It makes it a bit too loud now. If you can just
Tell
sort of
us.
move it to the side or something, I don't know.
Right here, I'll just rest it on my beard and see
Yeah,
how we
that's
go.
all
How's
right.
that?
That'll pass.
It's
Inshallah.
nesting comfortably.
All right, alhamdulillah. You were saying about how many people you're allowed to have at your house,
You're allowed to have two adults and
right?
your dependents, but in that the funny thing is in that they
Is that
say
from tonight?
infants.
That's what they're saying from tonight.
Yeah, 11:59,
Yeah, we're having three
and
Juma khutbas tomorrow. Three Jumas,
because
75
it's
each.
150. No, it's 150 now.
No, it's 75.
It's
It's
150 for
150
religious gatherings.
outdoors,
Ah,
150
okay.
outdoors, 75 indoors. Who's going to have it in this weather outside? So it'd be 75 basically.
So
Yeah.
have you got three khutbas? So three imams, different imams.
Yeah, we got an extra one of the hufaz
So
to do it.
you're
Alhamdulillah.
not the sole khatib. Do you feel threatened?
No, 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 no.
That was a joke.
Actually, it's kind of
Mhm.
annoying having the multiple Jumas because we always have to do Juma. Before I was doing three Jumas a month. Now I have to do four Jumas a month. And I think I went for. Actually haven't had a break. I had done every Juma since December. So we had a break last week because there was COVID. The masjid was closed. So that was kind of a break. But like pretty much last 2 weeks. So we
That's right.
haven't had
I
a.
remember you telling me it's very tiring.
It's not tiring, but it's just like you want to have a little bit of space to think. Like you don't want to be finishing one Juma and then sort of think about the next Juma. You want to have like a week or two, a fortnight buffer sometimes. I had that every month, but now it doesn't
Do
seem
you
to
actually
be
think that much
happening.
about the khutbah you're saying? You're going to speak.
No, not really. I
What are you
prepare the
talking
night.
about? I
I
need
usually
space
prepare
to
the
think. I'm
night
like,
before.
wow, this guy's taking 2 weeks to prepare one khutbah. Maybe
No,
we
no,
should
no.
record his
But it's
khutbah.
just like a lot more happens. You learn a lot. You grow a little bit within a fortnight, and it that affects what you can give to the people. Sort of, you get a bit more, learn a bit more, and so forth. But if you're
So
always
basically, what
talking,
you're saying is every Jummah khutbah you've done since you've started has gotten better and better and more profound.
sorry, I lost you there.
I said, you're saying every Jummah khutbah since you've started giving Jummah khutbahs have gotten better and more profound. Is that what you're saying? Because you grow every week and you learn a bit more. So, like,
I
they're
think
off the
that's it.
charts.
That's no, not exactly, but just with age, you become more. not better.
Be careful where
Depends
you
on
go
like
with this. Don't open any doors for me. There.
what's that?
Usually, I said, just be careful where you go with this. Don't leave yourself open for me to, take cheap shots at with age. Keep
No,
going.
no, no, no. With you would know this because it happened to me. It happened to many years ago. So, but I still have to catch up. I still have to catch up to
I
where
don't know
you
what you're
are.
talking about. I'm 27,
I
bro.
don't have your wisdom. I don't have your wisdom.
Ask
uh,
what would you? They call me the sage. Ask me, and you shall
yeah.
receive.
So yeah, it's not about age. It's about wisdom. Knowledge. But anyway,
Like a fine
so,
wine,
so
you get
some
better with
some
age.
people some people they yeah. Anyway, it's
Astaghfirullah.
yeah.
I used to have a boss, like one of my old bosses when I used to work at a company. He always used to say, "I don't know why these people are always talking about growing old gracefully. Because me, I want to grow old disgracefully. That way, I can say whatever I want, and people was like, he's just he's just an old guy. Just let him go." And he was going in that direction.
Yeah, that's very foolish.
That was
There
like
are
20 years ago. So I don't know
yeah,
what's happening to him now.
that's a very that's like a shameful way to be. Like that's um a person is supposed to be with age, get wisdom and benefit others and be more refined in character and
But
speech and
but
actions.
but that's from okay. That's I get what you're saying, but I think in today's society, 20 is the new 30, what is it? 30 is the new 20, 40 is the new 30, whatever, 60 is the new 20. I think now they
50
always
is
say
the
these
new
things.
30. 50 is the new 30.
There you go. 50 is the new 30.
Yeah.
So, it's all about keeping yourself
Yeah.
young and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I
Who
mean,
can
I
be
think
bothered with all that? Like,
that's a lot of work.
yeah, just be yourself. It's a cliche,
That's it.
but just be yourself.
Even trying to show wisdom is a lot of work
Be
for some.
yourself and be within the parameters of Deen and please Allah. If you're nafs,
I like how
I
you added
gotta,
that bit.
yeah, I gotta be yourself. You don't have to be pretend to be something else. You don't have to be pretend to be pious. Just try
You
to
heard it
be
here,
pious.
folks.
Like try to do be good. Don't be bad. But at the same time, you don't have to put an act on. Like pretend. There's a lot of that going on around as
Bro,
well.
you just
And
said be yourself, so I'm going with that.
yeah, be yourself, and as long as that's within the limits of Sharia, then you're right,
Of
inshallah.
course,
Yeah,
inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all like that.
yeah,
Staying within the
I
limits
mean,
of Sharia. So we're waiting
yeah.
for Lada. He had to run an emergency errand.
We don't know whether they'll
Um,
join us or not, but that's all right. Khair. It's
see how we go.
yeah. I was
What
playing
else
with
has
the
been
drone. I
happening
mean,
with? Oh, the
we're at
drone.
home. We are allowed to travel a little bit. Tomorrow, we're able to travel further. Our classes and all those sort of things, madrasa classes will start. School's already started, but madrasa is a
Mm.
little bit different, so that's going to start tomorrow. I was playing with the drone tonight inside the house. I was chasing
Inside the house.
Zayd, my son. Yeah, yeah. So like I was scaring him, my son. He's getting freaked out because like the way it moves left, right. It looks like it's got a mind of its own, but like I'm following him around the house. Like I'm getting good control over the
So you're
drone. It's
saying
pretty sick.
you can sit in another room and follow him just from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
camera,
yeah,
or you still
yeah.
have to have line of sight.
No, you can with line of sight and with the camera as well, with both. So either way, but the camera is a little bit risky. But just even the line of sight, just the way it moves, it's got like it gives you those feelings of Skynet sort of feelings.
I have to see
Yeah,
this.
this
All
is
right,
how our downfall begins.
when lockdown is over, what giving Maulana a drone, the leader of Skynet.
Yeah,
You saw him here, folks,
yeah. No, but
preparing his
it's
Jummah
actually
khutbahs.
kind.
More like
It's actually
preparing your
it's
Jummah khutbahs, more like preparing your drones.
But like what it is, it's like it's the reason why it's so enjoyable. It's like a video game coming to life. That's I said it last week as well. It's a video game coming. It's so enjoyable. But anyway, when we were
Mashallah.
talking about before, what you were talking about
COVID.
being what I was saying was about
Oh
being
yeah.
yourself, and people in COVID changing or the way they react or what we feel, what we felt in the last 1 year, especially spiritually, right? Or mentally
Mm.
and spiritually, right? So people, okay,
Give me 1 second, mate. I've just realised what I'm doing right now. Okay, Lada just texted. That's why I'm saying he's on his way home. I didn't text Lada, just telling my volume
Okay.
off. So anyway,
I'll
people being at
delete.
home in COVID.
So people being at home and having a lot of time to think and sort of the world. I said last year, like the rat race got. I said in Juma last year when COVID started, I said the rat race has been stopped and everyone's sort of sent home and there's no race. You don't like that was the best part about the initially with the lockdown
But yeah,
was that everyone
initially,
initially was like everyone is sent home and the competition is stopped and everyone is the same everywhere in the world. And that was kind of like they all don't know what they're doing. All these educated people and so forth. But the side effect, obviously, there's the mental aspects of it, the mental side of things, like how, especially people that are very social, or their life is their own. They define themselves in terms of the group of people that they hang around with, or the people they associate with. Again, like what I said before, being yourself, you don't know yourself actually. You're
yeah.
just like copying other people around you, and that could be good or bad. But you actually don't have a time to sit quietly, reflect deeply within yourself to deal with you.
Yeah.
And even so, there's a lot of these like articles and things now being said about people who lost their faith in last. That's always been happening, but they're talking to Muslims, non-Muslims, and obviously you can't. There's no comparison between haqq and batil, truth and falsehood. But maybe from the mental state, everyone's going through the same mental state. But I think a lot of what we're dealing with, each person, each one of us, is more to do with where we were before COVID and what our aspirations were, what our goals were. So when we came into it, how did we get affected? What did we lose out? What are the things that we gained? And
And
people that were doing,
do we actually think that, the start of, sorry to interrupt, but the start of COVID, people were thinking, oh, we're going to lose this, we're going to lose that. Did people realize we actually haven't lost anything
yeah, I mean,
in
like
that
it's
whole?
it depends. Like some people that like traveling a lot, they lost something, they stuck at home.
Yeah,
Some people that are families overseas or sick. I was speaking to one brother, and he's sick. He's overseas in India, and he's like, he basically just like he got to the worst level of COVID minus being on a ventilator or oxygen, right? So he
oh,
pretty much so he's like young and he's like 40% of his lungs still don't work. Like he's suffering, he's coughing, and he's in difficulty. Somehow he's like just plodding along and just tolerating it. So people have lost loved ones. That's one loss. People have
many people.
lost people have lost their own lives. Obviously, they're not with us. Not that I mean, like we don't know. Like my uncle passed away from COVID, right? My father's younger
Mm,
brother in Pakistan. So that was a loss. People have lost relatives. People have lost livelihoods, business, so forth. We've generally had it quite easy, maybe from our perspective, but some people, their business boomed. Like from a dunya perspective, some
yeah,
people like Bezos made $70 billion, so he did all right.
yeah,
But then I was speaking to one brother, his business, like people that are fixing cars or
yeah.
uh, their
Mechanics.
business went up. Their businesses went up because everyone's fixing up all the backlog of work and whatever. So
Yeah,
he was saying to me that his business actually boomed during thing. So one man's treasure, another man's loss, I guess. But it's putting all those dunya things aside and loss and gain in that. I think the how we each one of us, um, I personally enjoy it
wait, how
because
each one of
I
us,
would
what were you saying?
how each one of us deals with it and how each one of us copes with it and how each one of us it's not the same. And a lot of it's
Yeah,
with
of
how we
course.
spend a lot of it is how I spend my life before. So now even this lockdown happened, I started doing further studies. And I should have done it last year, but alhamdulillah, look, it wasn't meant to be last year. But really, I'm enjoying it, like just being at home and reading, which I did before in an unstructured way. Now doing it with ulama and the guidance of ulama and seniors. But that's like, I don't want to say nerding out, but I love
But
books,
you are a
Islamic
nerd.
books. Yeah, all right, jazakallah khair. But I love books. Not
Yeah,
a
I know.
nerd, but I love
No,
books.
you
I
love
love
drones. You
Islamic
love drones
books.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I love drones, and I
Yeah.
also love martial arts, and I love archery, and I love all
Allahu
those things.
Akbar.
I'm just a Renaissance. I'm just a Renaissance man. But
You love your maroon beanie.
yeah, I love my maroon beanie and my 10-year-old hoodie. My mum hates me wearing on any video because she said it's just disgusting. Like, you should get a new one or something. He goes,
Why
whenever I
don't you
see
get
a
it?
video, it makes me.
Why don't you treat
I
yourself
should
in a
get a.
new one?
I should get another one. There's no
I reckon
excuse.
you should go red or like
What
yellow or something. Yeah, red
for
or yellow
hoodie?
or something. Yeah, something just like out there, because that's you.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, I'm not that.
That's you to a
I'm not.
T.
No.
Maybe I'll get a yellow one.
Look. You know what? I didn't. I wouldn't. I did a lot of Amazon shopping, but not that much. If you look at it, it's
So
only a
you
couple of
contributed
things.
to Jeff, but you contributed to the
Yeah,
$70
yeah.
billion
And
that
he
we're losing.
contributed to saving my money and getting things on time to me. But what I'm saying, I didn't buy like.
Oh,
I didn't. Retail therapy wasn't like. I didn't go splurge on things trying to make me happy. That's a good. I feel that's a good. I feel alhamdulillah. I actually got rid of stuff in my home, and I feel more happy when there's less stuff in the home. I like minimalist.
yeah.
Hate clutter. So I actually
I've never
got
done
rid of.
retail therapy.
I feel happy. There's a part of the house that looks totally empty, and I look at it and I feel happy because the stuff is gone. Just
Why?
got rid of stuff like because it's not there.
You got to
The
explain.
emptiness. I don't know. It's the decluttering, the
The
minimalization.
emptiness. You like the emptiness of life.
Yeah, no, it's just, there's more
That sounds
space.
so
Like,
morbid.
oh yeah, I look at it and I'm actually happy to see that stuff not there. I don't know why. I actually happy. I'm planning to get rid of some stuff, but I might upset my mum. That's the worry because she wants me to have stuff in the house. So I'm worried. I'm trying to just get rid of stuff that she gave me. You know.
Ooh, dangerous territory there, bro.
Yeah, yeah. So that's look. At the end of it, I'm happy with stuff, not having the stuff, and I don't need more stuff. That's one good thing. I mean, these are like thoughts, sitting down and thinking about stuff and where I'm at and stuff. Second thing is I sort of had this hyper sort of focus on the things that I want to learn and increasing my knowledge, Islamic knowledge.
Mashallah.
So Allah provided those opportunities with some shuyukh and so forth. So that's like extreme enjoyment. Like that's to be discussing ilmi things and advanced Islamic concepts and so forth. That's really, really enjoy. I don't know why. And one of the best things like I personally enjoy is translating stuff, like books
Really?
and stuff. Like I
Oh,
really
old
enjoy
books.
that.
Old books.
Yeah, just translating and making it available to people. I don't know what part of it I enjoy because it's a lot of work, checking and rechecking,
That's
make
what
sure
I
it's
was about
correct,
to
and
say. Yeah.
it's a very tedious work. But it's very what's the word for it?
Rewarding.
Especially
Rewarding.
rewarding and when somebody else reads it and then they give you feedback, like just even they say Jazakallah khair for that, that means they read it. Like it's not like you don't need their approval, but it's an enjoyment. Oh, they took
It's a pat on
enjoyment,
the
or
back.
they
It's a pat on the back.
it's they appreciate it, and you feel good. I've done some good work, like it's encouraging,
Inshallah.
alhamdulillah. But even if that wasn't there in itself, like it's for some people maybe like producing a piece of art, but translating itself is like it's like you produced something, you made something, like
Well, yeah,
you
but
took some.
and it must be difficult though. Some of these books finding the right words, or not just the words,
Yeah,
but the
definitely,
context that the
definitely.
context that the author was trying to say, so you don't lose that.
Well, just now I sent 2 sentences because the book is in Urdu. It's a fiqh book, but it's in Urdu. So I sent a 2 sentences to a mufti in Australia. It's like mother tongue is Urdu. So like, cause Urdu for me is like a second, third language almost. So I sent it to him just to check. It's to do with Islamic. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It might seem weird thing. It's called shirka. Shirka is like what do you call it? Joint enterprise or partnerships, right?
Yeah.
Partnerships and it's in joint enterprise, which is more broader meaning. So that's the chapter that it's all about business transactions, right? Specific to do with partnerships or joint enterprise. So there's 2 sentences because some of those, the way it's been expressed, it's not 100%. Like I don't get it because it's like Indians doing a transaction, like, and the words that they use and the way they understand it. So alhamdulillah, like I can understand like 98% of it, but then every now and then, every 4 or 5 pages, I get a sentence that gets me stuck. So I'm translating at the same time. But that helps me focus if I want to study a chapter. If I translate it to English, spend the time, then I have to understand everything properly. That focus, like I could just read it, but translating it and typing it just solidifies it. But anyway, that's
Speaking of
what I,
translations,
what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say was I diverged off the topic that
very much.
who we are, what we were doing before COVID. Then when you entered COVID, what are we doing, and how are we spending our time, and how are we dealing with our life? So when these people come, like in that article that was there, in, I think it was SBS or The Age, I can't remember what it was, about young people losing their faith, or some that actually their faith became stronger during COVID.
Stronger, yes.
Yeah, so it depends on, and then they put a background to that 40%. They have this study of people who are skeptical of religious leaders. That has increased over like 10, like every increase is another 10% or something like that. So like 20% 3 years ago.
All these royal commissions don't help with that as well, because it's
exactly. So that's the background.
There's so much stuff that's happened.
Yeah, so that's the background. The trust level has dropped.
Yes.
And because the majority of Australia is a Christian or Christian background, you know, they're different. Like 95% of this country is either first, second, or you know, they're generationally Christian. So those values, you could say Judeo-Christian values, whatever you want to call it, that's the predominant values of the society. That's what the government's built upon. That's what, you know, laws are, you know, coming from England and so forth. So we're still under the Queen. She's also the head of a church. So all of those things that, like we're not the French, where the church and state are separate. That church is actually the head of the. So people get surprised when Scott Morrison prays or Scott Morrison goes to a church or something. Like they're shocked that, like, what are you talking about? Like this, yeah. And so all of those things. So because of what the church, what the priests did in those royal commissions was exposed, and how bad it was, and how systematic it was, and a whole generations were like basically abused,
traumatized, finished,
And so of course they became apathetic to the any type of spirituality or religion, and that's not necessarily a good thing if they turn away from Christianity and become atheists, because they totally turn away from God in any shape or form. But because now it's like they've gone like way past, you know, the truth.
And a lot of it also said COVID, like because of COVID, science has proven that it's, you know, it's all science and all this stuff, like because a lot of people prayed and no one got better, or their loved one didn't get better. So, you know, people question that whole, what's the term, the workings of God, so to speak.
Because they're probably the first generation, the ones that they're probably the first generation that never experienced any hardship, like they, you know, like post Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Really, Australians have never experienced
all the wars.
No, post Vietnam, because Vietnam they were conscripted and beyond. Because then you had the hippies and 80s and 90s, and really, nothing really much has happened. And then the Iraq and the Afghan war, which is a very limited operation from Australia. So other than that, they haven't really experienced a huge difficulties or problems. And because there's no difficulties and problems now, the first crisis that affected their life, right, especially young people, now is like, you know, and that's why they're jumping on. I'll just add Lata on. He's just come in. He's just setting up.
And because that resilience isn't there either.
Assalamu
alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. How was your mission? Where'd you go, Mars? Tell me you went to Mars.
Yeah, I went to Mars and back.
How was it? Elon Musk?
Yeah.
He's like he doesn't know where to go with this.
Anyway, we're talking about how people have lost their religion and faith, and COVID, the effect of that, and people that are, and we just got to the part we're talking about young people who've like people they've never seen any hardship. The first hardship that they've experienced now, people in their 20s and 30s, the first hardship they've probably seen in their life now is the COVID, the last 1 year. So for them to come out, they said COVID is the reason. If COVID and this COVID that you had in Australia is the reason that questions your faith in God and you become an atheist, I mean, this is the shock to your system. You know, it shows you how probably weak and pathetic you probably are.
Well, not weak.
Yeah,
and pathetic.
exactly.
I'd say sheltered.
I think weak and
I
pathetic
don't,
compared to
no, I
people
don't,
in the past. Yeah,
or even people in other
people.
countries.
Yeah, like for you that this was the catalyst, because this was the shocking event of your generation when people in the past went through wars and famines and all those other hardships and so forth. This is the shocking event,
But I don't think
in
it's
your
weak and pathetic. I think that's a very harsh term to use. I think it's more sheltered because you've got other
yeah, the
countries.
sheltered and the shelteredness made them weak and pathetic and
You're gonna go with that
unresilient.
line.
Well,
I'm giving you an out here, bro. I'm giving you
I'm
an
not.
out.
I don't want the out. I don't want the out. Umar radiallahu anhu said, "Do not get used to comforts." Like he said, "Do not get luxuries and comfort." So we've been acquainted. So when the first hit came, like I tell my sons, like I said, listen, this what you're going through, like you're lucky to have a job. I told my son, he goes, "You're lucky to have a job. Make shukr." And this is what you're going through. I have not gone through it. Your parents have not gone through it. My parents have not gone through it. Your probably our grandparents, experienced World War II.
Yeah.
They can probably relate to my grandparents' age, the hardships that they went through. But you're pretty much, you guys are, and they reckon this is going to be for the next 20, 30, 40 years. So you better, toughen up, get used to it, and make shukr, whatever good that is there, make shukr for it.
But we don't.
Anyway.
But look, COVID. The hardship from COVID is just being locked in. But that's for the nuffs. But apart from that, we're not having in Australia hardship compared to what people overseas are
I
facing.
think because all of us have traveled overseas and we've probably seen real poverty, people sleeping in cardboard boxes. I know we see homeless people here, but
and you can see what they must be going through now.
yeah, and like because we've seen that our tolerance may be a bit higher than maybe a lot of these guys. You talk to some of these people, like you see the interview and the people. These people are like never like when they're talking about it. He goes, "When I was young," he's 20 years old. He said, "When I was young, I experienced. I used to believe this, and now my views have changed." And the funny thing is that one of the article mentioned that he goes in the atheists when they have their atheist halaqa, they have a poster of Einstein. And ironically, Einstein was he believed in God. But anyway, that's something lost upon him. I think his science, they appreciate his love of God and appreciation of belief in God.
The whole point of Einstein is that we don't believe in God, we believe in science. Not like for that's what they say.
Yeah, nobody's going to cut that out and clip it and send it to your parents. Don't worry.
Sure.
We have the original video here. Astaghfirullah. Anyway, don't be looking over your shoulder. You're right, mate. You're quoting an imaginary person.
I'm not talking about. I'm not worried about my parents. I just want to, being careful of saying anything that will take us out of Islam.
Okay. All right. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, that's what stresses me out.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's the thing that stresses me out.
That's these people that come out and they say because they experience hardship, them. I'm not, and then there's many others who say they made their faith stronger. There's all these Muslims and many Muslims who say that as well. They made their.
Do you think people? People on the side of
it's
losing faith,
possible to tell.
COVID,
I think it might be.
Look, I think COVID is just an excuse. People had their people had their minds made up. COVID was just the catalyst. That's just the thing, the tipping point. That's what it is.
Yeah. People blame, for example, like a sheikh said this, a sheikh said this, a sheikh said this. That's why I turned away from Deen. They'll say things like that. He said this. He spoke harshly. If that's the reason why you leave a whole worldview, a whole Deen, because one guy spoke when there's like 1.5 billion Muslims. Come on, man! Like you're already on the way out already, and he might have been the straw that broke the camel's back, but the camel was already loaded right up, So that's a very, sad way. That's an excuse. Look, mate, it's an excuse, exactly.
Like I'm not saying that. Look, it is an excuse because a decision that big is not made because someone said something. You're looking for an out.
It's not done overnight.
You're looking for an out that you can blame.
It's someone. It's a bahana. We say an excuse. Yeah, it's a bahana, 100%.
Bahana sounds like a holiday.
In Broome. Bahana in Broome.
Bahana is yeah. That's a name of a really good app or something. Some sort of could do something with Bahana.
It actually is.
Yeah, it crosses cultures. But anyway, so I'm thinking like what that app could be. But
everyone, yeah, exactly. Lada was thinking the same. I was thinking exactly the same thing. And everyone watching is saying Bahana right now. Whoever watches this is going.
I'm gonna copyright. I'm gonna copyright this name. But anyway,
next minute it turns out to be the next Google, and it started here. We'll be spewing.
Someone else.
Will not. Yeah,
even the meaning of the name is actually no. It doesn't mean idea. It means excuse. Yeah. Bahana means excuse.
Yeah, it's an excuse. Yeah.
Okay. Still sounds.
Everyone's thinking. Everyone's brain is just going tick 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 tick. I know. So am I, and so is he. Everyone's brain is like.
Anyway, what we were saying.
Make sure we don't upload it until we copyright all the names.
Bahana.com.
Bahana.com.
Yeah. But what I was. No, I checked Bahana.com already, and it's it's like somebody's got it, but I think you can buy it. There's nothing actually there. You know, when
sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, let's focus back to what we were talking about. So these people that say that a lot of people that make excuses, and they expect everybody else to be. They make the excuses, or they use some other excuse or bahana or excuse, and then they blame some religious person or a certain school or a group, whatever. But the thing is, your deen is your deen, right?
That's right. That's your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not.
And this is not, you can't use people and you're still accountable, right? You're supposed to accept the truth even if it comes from a person you hate. You're supposed to leave the wrong thing even if it comes from someone you love. It's very simple. But I don't think we teach that enough. We don't teach that enough. It's coming. We don't teach that enough. There is a right and wrong, and you'll still be held accountable. If you're an abaligh person, you're mature, you reach the age of puberty, you're 15 years old. Beyond that, you're responsible for your actions. You cannot blame other people and how they made you feel. You know, there was a thing that I saw this video once of the mosque. It was in the UK. What was the mosque? It was basically reverts complaining the mosque doesn't do anything for me.
Reverts. Okay, yeah.
Why does a mosque have to do anything for you? You're supposed to work for Islam, right? You're supposed to do something for Islam.
Maybe they're saying they don't feel welcome, or there's no special programs for them
to learn.
Mosque. Yeah, but you got to remember when
what I'm saying is, do I have a special? If I'm an average person who walks off the street, I don't tell the mosque, you do not cater for my specific Paki needs. You know, like.
But you're brought up.
Do you understand? Like I don't, and Lata doesn't request. He doesn't ask for. What do you call it? What's that thing? Huh? Injera. He doesn't ask injera. I do not receive any injera when I enter the mosque. And this is making me feel uncomfortable. And and this is not catering for my needs. You know, like you can make anything into a feeling that I don't think Muslims go out. I think masjids, as an example, I'm just giving an example, like the generation we deal with, people just complain. We're complaining about people complaining. This is our generation. But people that complain said, they're not catering from me. Move on to the next thing. Move on to the next thing. Like you're an adult, fully fledged, actualized person. Go on, move to like the idea that you have to beg for something.
No, not beg, but you have to. I've got to stop you there, because if you have a think about this, you've been brought up, as you said, as a Paki Muslim. Lada's been brought up as a Oromo Muslim. I've been brought up as an Indian Muslim, or Muslim Indian, or Muslim Oromo, Muslim Paki, however you want to put those words. You're a Curry Muncher. So now the point is, right, we have an understanding of the masjid and what it should do, but when you have someone that's reverted into Islam, they come into Islam.
Oh, come on.
They have an expectation. Someone's got to help me. As if they do. Most people, when you have a mosque open day, they will say, I did not know this is what happens inside a masjid.
What are you talking about? When people come to a mosque, what do we come from? What is a masjid for?
Ibadah.
Ibadah, salat.
Yes.
Most Muslim, 99% of Muslims come to the mosque. Maybe sometimes I listen to a talk. Jummah, 5 times salat. This is what a masjid. That's why it's called a masjid. Masjid
But
means
we
the
also
place of
discussed that
sajda.
masjid. But we've also discussed masjids have become like centers now.
No, put that aside. What I'm saying is that people that demand things, extra things, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think what you're
most
you're
masjids,
talking
most
about is the core
masjids facilitate. The core function is there. It's open to anybody. They can come to the masjid. Some people are emotionally, how would I say? They have emotional needs,
Yes.
right?
I think people are privileged,
and then
they have this privilege.
exactly they're privileged, but they're privileged. What's a privilege demanding? Emotional satisfaction, right? They need something that the masjid should provide them, have to provide them. When in reality, they're the ones supposed to give to the masjid by making the masjid alive, by being present and praying there. But there's a
that's the whole point.
demand.
They don't feel like they can be present.
But I think what Mala is saying, it's up to them to create that environment so that they feel that way.
They're supposed to do that. Like
if you walk,
and I
What
think
if you walk into a masjid and it's a certain committee, right? And there's not much you can do.
I don't think it's to do with committees. I think it's to do with it's a generational thing. There's a demand. Oh, we want this, we want that. Like it's a privilege thing.
I
like what Lata said.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I understand what you're saying there. There's definitely a much more, instant gratification. I want this, then I can do it. Even in workplaces, it's like that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just a societal thing that's just feeding onto everywhere, every aspect of our life.
We don't have to feed it. We don't have to feed it. We don't have to feed it. We don't have to accommodate it. They should just step up and grow out of this childish and wean them off this. Like, look, this is the house of Allah. There's volunteers. Brothers come quietly, do all the work, clean the mosque. Sisters come, clean the mosque. They don't ask anything from anybody. They got to get up and go.
Going back to the
but that's also in workplace as well. You got the guys that leech off everybody else, and then you got the people who actually do the work and have the get up and go. You'll have those in everywhere in the world. You have that.
Yeah.
You'll have the bludgers, and you'll have the ones who get up and they'll make the tea and they'll do the khidmah, they'll do the service. They actually will get their hands dirty. We know them. We know who they are. We know in mosques who they are. We know in organizations who they are. The ones that, without no question, they'll get up and fulfill responsibility. Then there's the one hang-oners and those people that want a hand to be held. To a certain degree, you have to ignore them.
Wouldn't you think you have to try and do as much as you can to keep them in Islam?
My job is not to give them hidayah, or neither is yours. Islam is between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will not. I'll try not to be the means.
Make it easier for them to learn Islam.
Yeah, I don't think any Muslim, non-Muslim that comes, it'd be very rare now that any non-Muslim that really genuinely wants to learn, if they contacted any Muslim, they would not give them the time. The idea that a Muslim will refuse them deen or services of deen, it's impossible. Yeah, it's impossible. I don't think I would.
Every Muslim will put up their hands to help that person.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And the problem also is there are reverts. I'm not taking reverts. I got friends who are reverts, but there are some weird reverts that come. I'm talking about. The guy that becomes Jesus. You know which one I'm talking about. The guy comes and next day says, "I'm actually the reincarnation of Jesus." You got those guys that come. The weirdos.
No, I have not met that one.
I remember I was in the city. I was in Sunnah. I was on a tram. This guy comes up to me, and he goes to me, "You're a holy man, aren't you?" And I said, "No, I'm a Muslim." And he goes like this. He puts his hands together, like this. Goes, "Go in peace," And he walked away from me backwards.
What a legend!
It's such a weird. He goes, "Go in peace." I said, "All right."
Same thing back to him. I would have gone. Learn this word, salam, and be one with the salam.
Peace be upon you. I mean, it was just
a very. I would have gone hard.
So we've had over the years those weirdos, they've come they've come to Islam, but I think some people just need they need emotional. We've had emotional.
Moves on.
This is going to be one of those episodes that's going to get like 4,000 views,
No,
and
no, 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 no,
just
no, no, no.
like
No, no, there are. We have to put up with that as well. I'm sorry, but like
yeah,
the people in the
it's
mosque,
true. I
like
get it. I get it.
a guy comes in, and he wants to become Muslim. 50% of the ones that want to become Muslim, it's because of marriage. More than that, probably. You
I
know,
actually had someone. I
and they
had
want a
someone
rubber
tell me.
stamp.
I had
They want a
someone tell
rubber
me
stamp.
recently. Yeah, this guy told
Yeah.
me. Sorry to interrupt. Told me very recently. Oh, I just became Muslim to marry her. I don't believe in any of this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So of course, as Muslims, we want to be welcoming. As naturally, Muslims are very welcoming and so forth. But also, over the last 30, 40 years we've been here, we're also very mindful as well not to, let them come. Masjid is open. Come and pray. There's some old uncles there in our mosque, for example. You go and learn for them. Sister
Every
comes.
mosque.
I'll arrange. If anybody comes, yeah, go to that sister. She'll teach you din, right? Some of them, they don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they do. Is it because they want to marry a man, Muslim man, or vice versa? They come disappear. They'll leave money, they'll leave equipment, stuff, like they'll just abandon like nothing. They got nothing to do. So there's a lot of those things. I mean, it's nothing compared to what other early Muslims had to do for new Muslims, but they got pretty. Sahaba radiallahu anhum, we shouldn't compare them to Sahaba, nor should we. And neither we like Sahaba, we know we near Sahaba, neither the converts to Islam anywhere near like Sahaba. So we should not be expecting a lot from them. But it's just something to note that these people, like the generation that we're dealing now, or people that are extremely growing up in, it's not about generation maybe even as well. It's people that are used to extreme comforts, have not seen hardships. They do tend to complain a lot, and they haven't really seen any real problems. And to say for them, even for a Christian, say that I left Christianity because of this XYZ, probably
Come
you
on,
are not
bro.
much of a Christian.
Some of the stuff that happened was pretty heavy stuff. Like that's
No, I get that, but I was reading some of the Jehovah's Witnesses. What I'm saying is like, it's a very superficial understanding of your own religion that you had. You just wanted to follow design. If you read those guys, it's a lot.
Let's make it clear right now. We're not talking about the results of royal commissions and stuff like that.
What, for Muslims?
Well, no, for Christians that even leaving Christianity, you can't say superficial.
Yeah, but we're not talking. Jehovah's Witnesses got nothing to do with the Royal Commission. This Orthodox Church got nothing to it. It's not about
I know that. I just want to make that clear.
People have become. There's so much luxury. Religion is really not really. It's an afterthought when it comes in relation to life and so forth. It's not really part of life anymore. It's just sort of like
you feel good.
Yeah, and if it doesn't make you,
if it doesn't make you feel good, it's not right.
Hence Hillsong and hence dancing and singing. Hence any religion that sort of, where you can follow your desires and nafs seems to be the place where most people will probably gravitate towards. There are Muslims who lean into that as well. That have to show Islam is also fun.
It's got to make me feel good.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't feel
Exactly.
good, it's about
nafs.
Right.
Yeah, it's about nafs. And anyway, Allah give us understanding, tawfiq. Not the topic that we thought we were going to discuss. Always the case.
I don't know how we ended up on here for the last half an hour. Like that was pretty full on.
Yeah, we wanted to talk about Fauci, and we want to talk about the what was it? What do they call it? The research that they what was that research? It's the pre-research.
I call it weaponization, man.
What?
It's called. Oh, hang on a second. I've got it.
What'd you call it?
Weaponization.
Yeah. So now these emails are coming out. Now different things are coming out, which are, basically, it's very murky. Actually, it's, it is 100%. We know the virus came out of Wuhan, right? We know that.
Yep.
We know that there's two theories. Either came out of the wet market naturally from bats, which is possible, and it came out of a lab. There are virologists, immunologists who are arguing that this is. Some are saying could be artificial. Others arguing no, it's not. So they have teams of like there's one smaller team. There's a lot more saying no, this is not made in a lab. Even if it wasn't made in a lab, it could have been leaked from a lab. They're doing tests and so forth. The problem is then the Americans apparently were supporting. They gave through Fauci. There was there's funding involved in medical research and so forth. And so it's a very interesting and murky origin. The fact is the virus is here.
What's the term? I'm trying to figure out what the term was. Remember the term they use? Proof of something, research or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically they were looking at it, they were modifying it and playing around. But the thing is that the American government was sort of not the American government, like researchers from the US, they were involved in it, and
And the whole theory behind it was we want to see how dangerous this virus can get and if it can jump from species to species. So they tried
yeah,
to. So they did. What they did was they engineered the virus to be more dangerous and jump from species to species.
mm.
And then
Well,
lo and
that's the
behold,
accusation.
That's what
No,
Mama's
that's
saying.
that's not proven yet. That's what they're saying. That's accusation,
So that's what
alleged.
one side
bro,
is
I
saying.
believe it. I
That's
believe it, bro.
you can believe it, but it doesn't mean it's true.
And it
So
doesn't mean
there
it's
is,
not true.
yeah, yeah, that's what I just said. But so you can believe it, but it might not be true. You know, so belief is not a factor. So that's an interesting angle on it. Let's say assume the best case scenario. It's from the wet market. Let's say it's like the best case
Mm,
scenario. It's from the that's the virus spread very quickly. People are dying from it. People have died from it. So it is a real thing that exists. It affects people's life. It's destroying economies. Um, like when it went crazy, when there was no lockdowns, like in Pakistan, like in India recently, which is still going on.
madness.
It's hard to even like when you're speaking to someone over there. How do you even live like that sort of situation
And
where
how do you even that's a good point actually. When you're speaking, all you can say is, "Oh, just safe, stay safe." But the enormity of what's actually going on, you can hear in their voices, and
yeah
the seriousness of what's going on, you can hear in their voices. And even though we're in lockdown, we can't relate to it. Like I'm speaking to someone that I know over there, one of my family members, and I was like, "Yeah, we had 23 cases. Melbourne went into lockdown." They were
mm,
in shock. They couldn't believe it. And we're like, yeah,
yeah
and then straight away they're like, oh, that's so good. That's so much better to do that. Don't so
yeah
you guys don't become like us. They're like just and they say to you, they go, look, it might be hard or whatever, just deal with it because the other option is
yeah
much worse.
yeah. I mean, it's in South Africa. They had like 150 or something along those lines of the most senior ulama. I think there's 150 nearly ulama died. Some long
And
list was sent to me
really
this
later.
the last 1 year, and that's a country with a Muslim population. I think it's like double of Australia. So just imagine, like in Australia, if we have like 80 ulama, 80 of our senior ulama died in 1 year. Like we don't have a lot of senior ulama, like really old
Yeah.
ones.
Mm.
They've had because they've had ulama, they've been living there for centuries, and then
Do
on
we
top of
have
that,
80?
we have more
We
than we
do?
have. Yeah, we'll have a couple of hundred, but all together, young, old, whatever, So it's
Okay, no, I'm
probably
talking about
we'll get
senior ulama, not just alims.
senior ulama. Like just you look at the boards of imams or anik, you have a look at them. In that, you'll see a couple of white beards, not a lot. So like Dr. Shabir in Sydney or Mona Yusupir, and there are a few others. Or some of them now in the other Mufti camp, but anyway, that's a different story. But there's like a handful. There's a handful. There's a handful. There's not really a lot of
Yeah.
ulama. There's a
I just
handful.
want to go. I want to go back to what you guys were talking about the two different I guess camps about the COVID, like what's happening with the COVID situation, whether if it's from the wet markets or whether it's from the labs. Like I've been thinking, like, what are the implications if it turns out that we're speculating, like what if it was from a lab, like what does that mean for you know I guess people going forward, like do you trust your the World Health Organization? Do you trust the system that's in place now, because they've hit it, and at the same time it's it's
What's
just
the
so
other
murky.
option
So
though?
I don't know, like
What is it? What is the other option?
yeah. So for me, it's just I just want to think about people's mindsets and where people's mindsets will be, um, once I guess the rabbit's out of the bag. Depending on what's I mean, if it was from the wet markets, then it's the status quo
It's
is the
an
same.
accident. It's an
It's an
accident,
accident,
and no,
and
and
nothing
if it leaked
changes.
from the lab, because I don't think they purposely released. Let's say, yeah,
No.
exactly. If they even
Yeah,
if they engineered it,
even if it
even
wasn't
if
on
they engineered
purpose.
it, if engineered, I don't think China would be crazy to intentionally release it in their
But that's
own
not what
population.
that's not what I wanted to focus on. Whether it's not that it's intentional or not intentional, but the fact that it was created in the lab, and
Nothing changes nothing
why
because it's anthrax. There's anthrax. There's other diseases as well. Other
yeah, but
ways to kill
why
human.
hide it? Why hide that it was from a lab?
To try not get into
why
trouble.
play the fact that it's natural if it's not natural?
To try
Wouldn't
not to get
China?
into trouble.
question marks for you?
Yeah, but China would do it because they hate being caught out.
What would they do? What would China do?
China don't like being caught out.
Yeah, but then I think it's either. So you think someone if it is lab related and it's man made, someone will take the blame.
You got to remember, for
It's not
China,
gonna be
China won't ever take the blame. It's all about saving face.
yeah.
And that's the whole thing about it. Like when you look at China, China's all
But
about face.
yeah. So what's the West going to do? They're just going to be angry.
Yeah.
They're going to be
you
angry.
naughty boys.
Oh, you guys, no. They're going to be angry, and then they're going to start because you're not really part of the world community. Like you're not really part of the international community. We're going to cut you down to size. They will cut. Eventually, China will be cut down to size. That's a given.
But do you really think that's going to happen? Look at what happened with John Cena the other day.
Yeah,
his apology and groveling
all of these big celebrities, all these big companies, they go into Weibo. They have to because China is the biggest market.
Yeah. Just did you remember do you also remember what went to Huawei? What happened to Huawei?
Yeah, when they
banned Huawei from everything.
The CEO.
Yeah, from Google. They can do that to any company from China if they feel there's enough there. That is, they did it. They did it to the biggest phone maker in the world. You know, they were the biggest at that time.
And telecommunications infrastructure.
Yeah, and they did and shut it down. Australia's shutting it down. UK decided already we're not going to have it. They're already telling their allies, all right, we're not going to deal with you if you're using their 5G network. You know, so the West has already rallied and said, all right, Huawei's, where do you hear Huawei now? Where do you see the advertisements in Australia? Like they're gone. Like, they'll make them disappear like that. So they do control still the keys to the, like China can think they do. Like, I think China's not, it's tried to make it project itself but as bigger than what it is. But like I said, like where it matters is territory. Taiwan. He apologized for Taiwan and
calling Taiwan a country.
Yeah, but if China is, like I said, if it's really theirs, take it. But they can't because they know they have to deal with the West. They can't take it. They can't take Taiwan. That's the thing. They're weak now. They can't. If they could take it, they would have taken it.
Taiwan's weak or China?
China's weak. They can't take Taiwan.
Nah, I wouldn't say China's weak.
Yeah, bro. I wouldn't say that either.
Bro.
Their dream is no, but they're weaker than the West.
Yeah, they're weaker than the West, but
there you go.
For now.
For now, yeah. Like, you don't want an enemy like China.
The day they take Taiwan, then I'll say, all right, they're the superpower in the world. They will never take that.
That's fair.
If we see next time.
Next podcast, China takes Taiwan.
Molana eats his beanie.
And even Taiwan is not just standing by. They've everyone's trained there. Like they're gonna go.
Taiwan
they're
is
gonna have
everyone's militarized in Taiwan.
They have to be.
Yeah,
very much.
Yeah, they will not go. They will not. They don't want to be part of. There's groups within their parties in their pro-China, but very highly unlikely that Taiwan's just going to go quietly. And they probably have their spies and everything in there. Yeah, that's a big topic. As for Wuhan, now it's becoming murkier.
It's very murky.
It's still not. You cannot say that this was made in the lab. It could be made in the lab. It could not be made in the lab.
You can't say it's made in the lab. You can't say it's natural.
Yeah, and you can't also say that it's intentional, unintentional. I would probably say whether it's made in the lab or it's natural, it's irrelevant. It's whether, and I don't think they've released it unintentional. I think that it was an accident. And that accident, I think that accident, because if you were going to release it, then you would release it somewhere else, not in China, in the place where you're making it.
Yeah.
You try to put it as far away as possible on the other side of the world. But that didn't happen because Taiwan. They know, or somewhere else. Yeah, like you wouldn't take, if they knew what it was and how infectious it was, they would have released it on the other side of the world. and they wouldn't do that because it's their loss as well, because the world economy is slowing down. The factory of the world, China, will also slow down. So it's not even in their interests. So I don't buy into any of those things. But what is suspicious is the way, the politics of how it was presented early on.
Yes.
The politics was presented because Fauci and all these guys that are when it comes to medical funding in the US, this is what it comes down to, is the money that's involved in it so much. So then they said things that say, but I don't think it changes anything on the ground. Wearing masks, not wearing masks. These are not
all that will still be the same.
Yeah. So exactly. We'll still end up in the same spot.
Yeah.
And but
it's not like finding out the truth is going to take the virus away. It will just let us know how it got out.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. So other than that, I don't think it's going to achieve anything.
China going to Taiwan.
Do you think
Muslims
we'll end up going to war as a result of this? Is it?
No.
Do you think it's
not for COVID?
China can't go to war, and it's not worthwhile. And China won't win either because it doesn't have a lot. It's
lots of people died. Lots of people lost their businesses. Lots of countries are trillions of dollars in debt.
Yeah,
there's a lot of upset people. You can imagine.
China's surrounded by, you could say, hostile states. Not hostile, but in their view, because they've created that they're very aggressive. Whether it be Japanese, whether it be Korea, and all of those have American bases. Taiwan, coming down to Vietnam, Philippines, all around. U.S. interests are all around them. Afghanistan, Afghanistan now they've left, but Central Asia. So there's an American base there in where is it, Uzbekistan or somewhere. So, and Pakistan's an ally of the U.S. So, and I don't think because China will push the whole. What is it? The communist agenda, and those countries are not communist countries. I don't think in the big scheme of things they will, they can't reach United States. That's another thing. They can't reach there.
Let's move on from China. I'm so bored.
Allah knows best.
I'm so bored with China right now.
Yeah, I was getting into it.
Me too. I actually like this.
All right, keep going.
It's very selfish, Abdul Wajid. We should.
Well, I'm precious.
We were sharing our feelings and our opinions, and our deep analysis. And you are tired,
No, not tired.
And just let us know.
I'll give you a hug when I see you. What it is he's missing our hugs, Lata. That's what it is. You know how you used to hug him as soon as you saw him? That's what he's missing.
I mean, you can't hug with the,
What was the last topic for the day?
Just fist pump each other. What were we talking about? India. What about the India-Pakistani rice? So India's going.
That conflict is very serious, but I think India is claiming some sort of world heritage.
Did you say India is very serious?
What's happening with India?
It's as serious as a Chinese American one.
That's where you're a carry.
The basmati rice is not owned by India. Anyway, the point is that India wants Seoul. It's like that town Champagne. Only Champagne is from that town in France, right? You can call it Champagne. Anywhere else is not Champagne. They copyrighted something. So now India wants to.
The European Union has basically a thing of you get a stamp of origin. So champagne from the Champagne region in France can only be called champagne. Or you got that, what's that cheese, man? That really little flakes of cheese. That can only come from Italy.
Okay, specific place.
That name's changed as well, right? That can only come from a specific place in Italy. Right? So the same way, what India's saying is, look, it's not going to make a difference. But the thing is, the stamp of approval can only come, they get certain codes or whatever, that every bag that goes gets done. So it is a serious thing in terms of, well, what about all the basmati rice producers in Pakistan? They're in trouble.
Yeah, it's like 50%. 50% is. Yeah.
They can no longer export to Europe saying it's basmati rice.
Just call it Pakistani rice. Who cares? It's just rice.
Well, you just said it was a very serious thing, and now you're saying who cares?
No, I'm just joking about it. I think it's like 80. I mean, what a silly thing to argue over, like the world.
Well, financially, it's not. From a financial point of view, it's not.
It's a type. It's a species of rice. It's not.
That's correct.
A geographic border.
Yeah, but you can't use that word. So a person will not. If you're looking for basmati rice, you're not going to go, "Oh, Pakistani rice is the same as basmati rice." It could be any type of Pakistani rice. That's why it's called basmati rice. I'm a bigger curry muncher than him right now, I know.
No. Actually, I was gonna say, the fact that you were so enthusiastic about basmati rice compared to the topic of China shows how much of an Indian you are.
No, bro,
Yeah, like he
listen,
really got into it. He changed. Yeah, he's up in his seat. Yeah,
bro, all I
the
saw with
Indian
China was this. And I'm just like, where are we going with this? We know, like, there's no solution when it comes. If you want to go back to China, we can, but what is the solution? There is no solution.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about
We can discuss it, but basmati rice, there is a solution.
Yeah.
Take it to the High Court.
I don't think the Pakis will accept it, and I don't think, they won't accept it.
No,
so
well, they won't
end-
accept it, and if
end
they
of story.
appeal to the European court, it'll get held up
I
in
mean,
court for years.
70 years ago, it was one country, and it's split into some basmati went on
crazy.
this side, some basmati went on that side. That's it. That's all it is. It's not a big deal. But anyway, they're fighting over it in a court or something. But yeah, subhanallah. All right, let's call it a
Anyway,
night.
back
I think
to China.
China.
All right.
Yeah.
When I looked in your
And
eyes,
also
I
the
saw no
G7.
soul.
The big news was G7 meeting, and how uneventful it is compared to Trump when the G7 used to meet.
Oh,
And
it's so boring without Trump.
Bro,
it's so
okay,
boring.
but don't you reckon these leaders, like these world leaders, is like, we can actually have a holiday now? We go there on the taxpayers' expense. We can chill out.
I think
Yeah,
they miss
yeah.
Trump.
Where did
No,
they go?
they
It was
don't
in
miss
England.
Trump.
In England. It's in England, isn't it? The G7 is in England?
No, isn't it online?
No,
Is it
no.
online,
It's actually no. It's on site. No.
Are you
It's on
sure?
site.
Yeah,
Yes.
normally
Scott
on
Morrison's
site-
there.
Oh, I would've
Scott
thought-
Morrison is the only Western leader to go there. We're going to continue polluting the world. In
Yeah.
a way, he said it in a nicer way, but we're not signing up to the Paris whatever accords or whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to try our best. You got to take it easy on us. Like we're going to try our best.
We're doing we're a developing nation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look where we are, man. We're far from everything. So, but anyway, other than that, like they had their meetings and Biden met Putin, and apparently that was like a reset from when Trump met him. Remember when Trump met him, where he had no one's allowed to, off record. Everything was off record.
Yeah.
So this was very different. So anyway, Allah Alam if that changes. If all these big wigs.
But does it ever change anything? Whatever the plan is, whatever the agenda is, and I'm not being a conspiracy theorist to whatever.
You are you're inclining towards it. Inclining towards conspiracy theories. Is the status quo because the people are becoming billionaires? That's a status quo. Like people becoming rich and powerful, right? That group will continue to become more rich and powerful.
Yeah,
that's right.
That as long as that stays, that just follow the money. As they say, follow the money and
change that.
Change the system, change everything, which will be.
There've been so many revolutions. Now they can smell a revolution a mile away.
That's right, and nip it in the bud.
Yeah, you need like another sort of COVID bug, like a virus, to spread through humanity, and then
Inshallah
that might fix it. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying turn things upside down. Like a comet hitting or something something shocking. That's the only way. Like a reset.
I know.
Yeah, people have been divided. No, people have been divided, compartmentalized. Militaries are there to control them. Every now and then you get a little flare up, a rebellion that gets quashed. They send in the jets, whether they be in Afghanistan, whether they be in Iraq, whether they be in Africa, whatever it is. They control it, contain it, fix it up, move on to the next thing. They have a system that's perfect, like for that exploitation. What will bring that is a total like a Armageddon style, apocalyptic, like a meteor hitting or like a giant volcano exploding. Like, in 536 exploded. It covered the world's surface. Like the whole earth was covered like with a soot.
Bro, you're being so full on right now.
And that's, I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking of a scenario where you ask the situation, how is this going to change?
But you're not making dua for that scenario, right?
No. I'm just saying I can see that.
Flies his little drone up. Let me check out what's happening with this volcano.
Yeah, so that's probably the thing that will probably trigger a massive, some disaster like that of that level, apocalyptic nature. Like that will maybe,
You know what I would have
change.
out of all those,
But it'll be crazy. That'll be like Mad
solar
Max
flare.
style stuff.
It'll be Mad Max.
I wouldn't mind a solar flare.
Yeah,
Well,
that
just
will be
a-
the
why-
worst.
And you wouldn't want to be
That'll
on a
be the
plane
worst.
while that's happening.
Yeah, just as long as I'm not in a plane, solar flare would be all right. Just
Yeah,
just
so
turn off,
but
for a year or so,
that'll be scary.
that'd be a good reason.
Because your
scary,
cars
man.
won't work either. Your cars won't work
There
either.
will be nothing that works.
Yeah.
No, anything
There
that's
will
got
not be
electricity
anything
won't
that
work.
works. Yeah, that's right. Anything with what is it called? What's that thing, man? With a magnetic field.
Like we take it for granted that okay, my work is 10 minutes away, right? 10 minutes away is like 10 kilometers,
Yeah.
right? If you work 10 kilometers away, that means 10
Exactly.
kilometers, and I live like 50
but-
kilometers from my work. I
Yeah, but
drive
you
1 hour
see,
each way.
But what I'm saying
70
is,
kilometers.
Could you imagine doing that like without a car?
But you couldn't. But even if you didn't have the car,
Couldn't, yeah, you
and
can't live
couldn't
like
go to
that.
work- even if you do go to work, what are you going to do? There's no computers.
Yeah.
There's no electricity. Like we would be going back to farming and trading
Yeah.
like that.
We'll starve before that. I'm happy here because the creek behind me. I got a creek. It's got heaps of frogs. It's got water. It's got frogs in case make frog
Yeah, because you're the only
friends
one that I
style.
think of it.
Survival. Yeah, I'll be hunting frogs at night time in my in the creek, but
With his drone.
and the drone won't work unfortunately. But
Oh, yes.
that's what we'll be doing. The neighbor's got a dog.
Bro,
There's a few
I'd get all
dogs.
the- I'd
There's a
get all
lot
the-
of cats. There's a lot of cats in this neighborhood. I'm talking about survival here. So
I'd pack my tents, get a trailer, get a few families together, and we'll just go bush.
How are you going to go bush with a trailer? What's going to push it?
Pull it. No, pull it. You got to pull it. Tie
What?
ropes to it, and all.
put
everyone
much
takes it in
put
turns.
your son on the front. Put your son in the front, and with a whip.
With a
Get the kids.
Come
Get
on,
the
boy.
kids out the front. Astaghfirullah. Anyway, inshallah, Allah save us from that. I don't think we'll survive a month.
That was
If
so
that
random.
happened,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we won't survive. We won't survive a
Humanity would be in
month.
chaos.
Just
Yeah,
just
we
just
would,
look
but
at
it
how
would be
people
chaos.
reacted with COVID and
You know the psychos in the street. The psychos that live in my street. They're gonna win. They're gonna win. They're gonna come and eat us. The ones that are always fighting in the street. Yallah khair.
We know.
The ones that when you close your blinds very slowly, just when they start fighting in the streets. Those are guys. Yallah khair. Allah help us.
If that happens,
Those guys, they're gonna get nuts.
The guys across the road from him, the wife will be like, "We're gonna starve." He's like, "Don't worry, honey." Didn't you see the guy across the road?
He can't run very far.
We got plenty of food. We got months of storage.
Yeah. We'll cold. What is it? We'll cold. What do they call it when they cold dry them?
Age him.
Age dry him. Can last through the winter.
Sheikh Khalid jerky.
Anyway.
I can't believe we're even having this conversation. How did we end up here?
turn to dust.
Survival, man. Survival. What's going to happen? How the world's first thing will happen. First thing will happen. First thing will happen. No. First thing will happen is that Australia will be cut off. Australia's cut off from the rest of the world. Right.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. We cut off from everybody.
Yeah, but
That's a good thing as well.
Small population, plenty of land.
Yeah. So the first thing is
and people
the
would
better
get
place
into pockets.
And probably the good place to go is more like in Central Australia, where a lot of camels are there, and have a bow and arrow, and you're able to hunt camels.
You're gonna walk to Darwin.
No, I'm just saying. The ideal location will be that those towns are ready. They need some like oasis in Central Australia. They will do all right. Those guys will survive.
No, I think what would happen is towns.
Just find one of those Aboriginal tribes in the middle of Central Australia, and then they'll know where all the widgety grubs are, and you'll be all right. Yeah. They'll help you with fishing.
Bro.
Survival food. Survival.
That is true.
Yeah, survival. They'll know what to do. They know how to do tracking. They know how to do.
All these guys on
That's
farms,
their land.
hobby farms, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Those in Central Australia, especially they know like bush tucker, they'll be all right, inshallah. So we got to just make our way to the promised land in Central Australia. Other than that, I think in Victoria, because of population, I think we think about Melbourne City, right? I mean, I'll live 2 kilometers away from farms, the edge of the city.
Next minute you
Right.
turn up and he's got his flag hanging on a farm. I got this. But this is the thing
Yes.
with Australia, the cities, yes, would be chaos, but I think out in country towns and places like that, communities would band together
Yeah, that's true.
and they would
Yeah.
work together.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah,
Like you
that's
see
true.
bushfires, floods. What happens? The one good thing about Australia is
Yeah.
everyone comes together.
And that's the good thing is it will weed out all those whingers, you know? They'll get a reality check when it
You
goes
gotta
The
work,
first
things.
man.
people, I think the first people to go are the ones that, the ones that went into Coles and Safeway and cleaned out all the toilet paper when the pandemic first happened. Those guys, I don't know.
They've
Oh,
built
man.
bunkers since then, man. They probably built bunkers by now
Yeah,
in there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Do you reckon? Because
Huh?
There's
out of
bunkers in
everything,
Australia.
they
There are
snapped
bunkers
up
in
toilet
Australia.
paper. The most if toilet paper runs out, so what?
Now,
It's
yeah,
like,
that was when it first happened. I was like, all right, so there's a global pandemic. It's going to kill everyone, and your go-to is toilet paper.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
don't
just
think those guys are gonna survive.
it's about hygiene, you know, it's about cleanliness and hygiene.
Allahu Akbar.
Anyway. All right, can we call it a night, inshallah? I just have to go. I have
Yeah, because this conversation is just becoming crazier and crazier.
yeah. But this survival one, we have to explore this.
We do.
have
I
to
think
explore
that's actually a good topic.
the preppers. We have to study the preppers, and we have to look at our exit routes out of Melbourne, and also like where the food supplies are, food supplies are, how many guns we'll need to really hold down like an area, how many people we'll need.
Bro, you just need to go to if you went to deep south of America and just stuck like a straw in your mouth. G'day, my name is Khalid. Cal, I'm coming from Australia to join you. You'll be right at home with the way you're talking right now. You know where
Yeah.
the billionaire preppers are going? This is the crazy
Where?
thing.
Where?
Queenstown, New Zealand.
Okay.
New Zealand is the place, according to billionaires, that if the world goes to crap, that's where they're going to go. And houses in Queenstown, you
Strange
got
place to go.
18, 20. It's so isolated. It's beautiful. There's like massive houses. There's you watch YouTube. Just
Okay.
look at the preppers in New Zealand. There's an hour and a half documentary on that. I watched this documentary. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
But
didn't know that.
I would think somewhere where it's green and things grow easily,
New
like
Zealand, man.
food grows. Brazil,
New Zealand, yeah.
Brazil, just foods everywhere.
What do you mean Brazil foods everywhere?
Brazil, just foods everywhere. Everything, the whole jungle, like Amazon, is just food, fresh water and food, like abundance. There's abundance there.
Yeah, but they're
Like,
burning all
you'll
the
be poor,
forests.
but you
That's
won't
why
be-
the
you
world's
won't
gone
go
crazy.
It's not burning all the forest; it's burning like a lot of it, but not a lot,
Yeah,
all
most
of it. Yeah, and the forest is replaced. What they're putting cow ranches and farms and food there, so it's not being. Yeah. Anyway.
So Brazil is
Stuff it up.
burning the forest to prepare for the end of the world. What will happen due to global
Yeah.
warming because they're burning the forest?
But do you know all those jungles? You know the jungles that these are overgrown jungles, right? They actually done these aerial things of it when the ancient like Indians, whatever Aztecs, and all these ones in all these areas around there. The jungles have grown over pyramids and pathways through the jungles, which were there. The whole civilization have disappeared in the jungle.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
So we're just clearing out that to get to what it was before. It's overgrown. It's like
You want to build a pyramid in Brazil. Basically, that's the takeaway from this.
yeah.
You need all the cows.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I got a
Assalamu
session.
alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
All right, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalam.